Hey everybody, shot a feeding video here of my native tank the other night, and I had the camera set up on the tripod at a fair distance away from the tank. It's a 6-foot long tank, so you got to be halfway across the room to get the whole thing in video. And I had the forward light fixture turned on, and of course while I'm sitting here in the room, you know, with the naked eye, I can see the tank very much differently than it comes out on camera. And it's just really pretty having this forward light on. You can see I've still got at least this one beautiful rosy side dace in there that just lights up and glows underneath of this bright fixture. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is my golden shiners. I don't know what it's going to look like at the end result once the video's uploaded and everything, but you should be seeing more of a silvery appearance. These two here, this school of these sort of long pointy ones, are the golden shiners, and then these sort of thicker bodied torpedo shaped ones, those are the creek chubs. So when I'm talking about the golden shiners, I'm talking about these. And you'll know recently, if you follow along, that I did a really big water change in this tank, about a 60%, and I really cut back on the amount of tannins that were in the water. And one of the things I find really interesting about these golden shiners is they only appear golden when they're in heavily tannin stained water. As soon as the water becomes clear, they actually turn into sort of a silvery greenish color. They're really pretty under a nice bright full spectrum light. In this case it's 65 or 6700K. I might have a 10,000K tube in there in the forward fixture, I'm not sure, but it's at least 6700K, and that gives you a nice pretty good color rendering. Not a full color rendering, but a pretty good color rendering, and you get to see how much blue and green is really in there. So over time, I got two cats behind me attacking each other, if you're wondering what all that noise is. Over time, this tank, and it does not take long either, over a short period of time, this tank will be very tannin stained again, and when it gets to be, then we will get to see how much more golden these shiners start to appear. And I've also noticed the same thing kind of happens with the creek chubs a little bit, that they get a little more bluish greenish sort of color. A lot of that has to do with the light itself. Everything is going to look a little more bluish if it's got more blue in the light. And if you use a 2700K that's got a lot of reds and oranges in it, everything is going to appear more reddish and orangish. So removing the tannins of the water just allows a lot more of the light to penetrate through the water, and you get to see a lot more of those blues and greens that are in some of these fishes. I was wondering if our little tilapia was going to come out and make an appearance. He's been hiding back in the corner all day. I gotta say, he's gotten a lot less bold since I netted him out of the 125 and moved him back over here. He was really bold when he was in this tank before, and then when I moved him over into the 125, he got pretty bold in there too. He was in that tank for a fair amount of time, and as he grew into it, he got big enough that he became pretty aggressive towards my Tannin and even my nice docile snakeskin gourami. Took a beating, and I believe that's where the injury occurred that caused the bladder infection, the swim bladder infection in my snakeskin gourami, which ultimately led to its demise. So I think this tilapia was responsible for that. At any rate, it was really aggressive and boisterous and outgoing when it was in the other tank. It used to fight for food, used to dominate when it was feeding time, and now he seems to think I got a net in my hand every time I walk up to this tank. Whenever I feed, he sort of lays low and he goes in the back and waits till I walk away, and then he comes out and starts looking for the food. So it's kind of interesting to see him out and about like this. Maybe the fact that I've just been standing here talking for long enough, he realizes I'm not opening the hood or anything. I bet if I moved to open the hood, he would dart back behind that piece of wood, lickety-split. So we're not going to do that and bother him. It's got another hour or two before feeding time, so I'm not going to bother with that. I was just down here having a look at the tank, so I thought I would shoot some video of it. And the only thing I really wanted to point out was how different everybody looks under this nice bright lighting without all those tannins in the water. Pretty soon it's going to be nice and tannin stained again, and everybody will start to take on that beautiful golden hue. And lastly, while I'm noticing it, you can see that crayfish tucked away right there, hiding in the little crevice of the wood. So that one lives in there permanently. That's not just, you know, crawling up there and kind of hanging out on the piece of wood. That lives in there as though it's cave. And I will often see some other ones on the piece of wood back there or around it. So even though it really didn't look right going into the tank and I wasn't 100% happy with it when I first put it in there, just its practicality and its functionality has made it grow on me. The way the fish interact with it and swim in and out of it, the way the crayfish climb on it and even live in it. It's actually become a pretty interactive part of the tank, so I'm kind of happy I put it in there in the long run. At any rate, I just heard my wife come home, so I'm going to go upstairs and get started on making some dinner. So thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed. No real point to it. Just wanted to have a look at the fish while the water was nice and clear. So glad you watched. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget, this one is my 125-gallon native tank. And I will see you real soon on the next one.